Evil Dead is back, baby. After 10 years, we get another entry in this series. But is it groovy? Time to find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nightmare Collective. I'm Chris. Thanks for stopping by and watching my review for Evil Dead Rise. Okay, man, it's been more than a decade since we've gotten the last... Well, no, it's actually been a decade because that was 2013 since we had the last Evil Dead film, and that was Fede Alvarez's kind of soft reboot to the franchise, and I am a huge fan of that movie. I love that 2013 film a lot. I am a huge fan of Evil Dead overall. It's one of my favorite franchises in horror. I was very excited and mildly optimistic for this film overall because I didn't want to get my expectations too high because I was like, modern horror is weird. Sometimes it like overbrings, sometimes it underbrings. So I kind of just didn't know where this film was going to land. I'd seen the positive buzz. I'd watched a couple other reviews and I was just kind of like, I don't know where I'm going to sit on this, and it's a mixed bag. But let's get into what the film is actually about. So we follow two sisters and then the one sister's kids in one apartment building that is condemned and about to be demolished in about a month. So we've got a lot going on there. So we've got Ellie, who is the main sister with the kids, and she's played by Alyssa Sutherland, and she is incredible both in like that demon form you see her in the trailers and her regular form. I think she does a really good job. I'm saying form, she's a human being, but you know, she's going Super Saiyan, basically just the demonic version of that. But then anyway, we've got Beth, played by Lily Sullivan. These names all over the place, Lily Sullivan. She's also great as our protagonist. She does a really good job of kind of being vulnerable, and there's something to her. There's a mistake that she's made that she's showed up to LA to kind of fix, and you can tell that the relationship is strained between the two sisters, and it feels like Beth is always coming to her with problems, but when Ellie has a problem, she's never there due to the nature of her job as a guitar technician in a band. And her sister just basically says that she's a groupie, and that plays into some of the tension there. So we've also got the three kids. I don't remember their names. It doesn't really matter, but wait, Cassie. That's the one little girl's name. I remember Cassie. That's all that really matters. And then we've got a dude who's got his fade and his little mullet going on with an earring. And I was like, oh my God, Gen Z's back. They're here. They're here, populating my Evil Dead movies. What are we going to do? The Necronomicon is doing what the Necronomicon do. Shows up, fucks shit up, and then we get Evil Dead Rise. So overall, I really like the contained nature of this movie. That's what I love about the other one. Army of Darkness is its own like wild ride, but I like that we are in one location. The downside to that can be you have to have amazing performances when you are trapped in one location. You know, not horror related, but like The Whale, that is all on Brendan Fraser. You know, something like Knock at the Cabin, check out my review if you haven't yet, is all on all of those characters' performances because that's all you have. You can't just like be like, oh, look at this now, look at this, motorcycle chase. You can't do any of that when you're trapped in one location. So overall, the acting is great. I think the characters are really well done. The story is okay. I think it's more about that family dynamic and building tension with that. And because you have to now, when this stuff goes down, you're killing family members. You're defending yourself from family members, not just random strangers that you may know, boyfriend, girlfriend. There's a lot going on there, but you are killing your literal family. It'd be like if your sister's just like, hey, I got a demon in me, and you got to shoot her head off. Like that's the crazy nature of this film that you're getting into. And so that's a different dynamic than we've seen in the past. So I like that aspect of it. I think it's shot really well. The music's okay. I mean, it's in the background, so it's not necessarily noticeable as much, I think, as the other films. But I think there's a lot of homages to previous films and just other films in general. I think that part is really good. I think the visuals are good, the blood is good, the gore is good, the minimal special effects are great. So let's get into the mixed bag nature of this film. For me personally, you may love everything about this, but this is just my take as a huge Evil Dead diehard fan. There's just something missing. Why I like the 2013 thing, man, is that makes my skin crawl when shit is happening. When she's like cutting her tongue with that meat carver. I mean, it's just like, there's so much stuff that happens. The way that the demon gets into you is like brutal. And like, this film just doesn't have that bite. That movie is far more gruesome than this movie is overall, and I think that's what it's missing. I like the original ones for the camp and the wild nature of them and that horror comedy style that they were going for, that Sam Raimi does so well. And then Fede was like, no, we're going to take this in a serious direction and we're going to put some bite on it. And there is some shit that happens in that movie that is incredible and it's awesome. Highly recommend you watch that movie if you haven't, if you're interested in the Evil Dead franchise, because I think you're going to like it. It definitely was like overlooked at the time. I think more people over time have come to appreciate that film on a higher level than they did before, but overall I really enjoyed that movie a lot. And this one is just missing that for me. I feel like we had kills for kill's sake. They're all okay. Some of them are wacky, and sometimes I think the tone, while it's balanced very well in those original movies, the tone is sometimes weird here, and I think people in my theater were actually laughing at the movie sometimes, because there was some stuff that happened that I was like, that's weird and funny, but it doesn't fit some of the tone we have. You can go back and forth with tone all you want. I like some of that stuff. There was one kill in nature that you will see in the film that you're just like, that's weird, and I know it made people laugh, and it is very funny, but it was just kind of, it took me out of the film for a minute, because it's like, oh, not that things should be realistic, but that was very unrealistic of the world I think we had kind of built. I did enjoy the film. It was a slight disappointment for me overall if I'm comparing it directly to the previous film and not the horror camp that we got earlier on. So I definitely prefer that 2013 movie over this one. That's definitely at the bottom for me personally. I'm hopeful for maybe what they can do in the future. We do set up something maybe, but so did Fede Alvarez, and that never came to light. So I'm kind of curious to see how this does. Again, I think it's being received far more positively than that 2013 film, but only time will tell with what we get. So let me know down below, what did you think of Evil Dead Rise? Also, what is your favorite Evil Dead film out of all of them? Like I said, I'm a huge fan. I eventually will try to cover them in some way. I'd like to do a kind of a big video where I just talk about the franchise as a whole, as opposed to just doing like singular reviews. So maybe down the line in a year or so, I'll get to that project. But that's all I've got. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all the time you guys spend here on the channel. We hit 500 subs a couple weeks ago, and we are moving towards that 1,000 mark. So if you like what I do here, consider becoming part of the collective and subscribe below. Hit that like button. It definitely helps, and turn on bell notifications so you can get all my reviews. I got a bunch of different series and reviews on the channel, so definitely check it out. I do 4K reviews. I got a lot of diverse stuff here. I don't just do new movie reviews. So I'm going to link some videos for you now so you can kind of continue on whichever path you want to go down. I'm going to link all my horror reviews for 2023 so you can kind of go back through my catalog if you like my style here. And then I'm going to link my 4K playlist as well. So if you're into collecting movies and physical media in 4K, then definitely check that out. Okay, that's all I've got. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.